Hi guys, it's Virginia here, and I'm back! Yes, already. I know it's only been a few days, it's crazy, right? But I am just so upset. You want to know why I'm so upset? Because in the last few days, I've seen an uptake in people saying that the reason people hate The Last Jedi is because they're threatened by strong female characters. And this is probably the most insulting comment, the insulting, way to negate these arguments that I've ever seen. I am a woman. I am sitting in front of this camera at almost 2 o'clock in the morning because I have spent the last 2 hours trying to perfect this outline for this video because I just can't believe that they're trying to pull this shit. So, welcome back to my web series, The Fundamental Misunderstanding of Rian Johnson, and we are here to talk about the fundamental misunderstanding of strong female characters. All right, we were all waiting for it. I actually got a request for this video a day and a half after I decided that this was going to be my next video, and I'm like, haha. This was always planned as a video, but I didn't decide at what point I was going to upload it, but now seems like the time, because JJ Abrams, our last hope, decided to pull that card, and now I have lost all faith for the sequel trilogy, and rest in peace, Star Wars, because it's dead now. It's dead now, and it's very sad. It's very sad. There's too much sadness in my life. Okay, so we're going to begin by saying I cannot lay the blame solely on Rian Johnson for this, because this is a prevalent issue with male writers. And I'm not trying to pull an SJW card here. I'm really not, because I'm not that way. Especially white male writers. Now, I'm not saying POC male writers don't have this issue, because they do. But Rian Johnson is literally the poster boy for not being able to write female characters. But he's not the only one. He's not the only one. There are a lot of directors, male directors, who cannot write female characters for some reason. I don't know why it's so hard to write a female character, considering, women are human beings and so are men. So I don't know why it's so fucking hard to do that. Sorry, I already cursed only 3 minutes in. So, it's not exclusive to Rian Johnson, but he definitely, with his writing of these female characters in The Last Jedi, have proven that he doesn't know who women are or what they want. And it's really concerning to me. And and the next thing I'm going to say is not intended to be a real dig at Rian, but after watching The Last Jedi and going over some of my thoughts for this, I thought, there is no way in hell that this guy is married. And I went online and I checked, and it looks like he's not. And I'm like, guess who's right again? Because there's no way that he would write a woman this way if he was actually married. None. And if they would, then I'm really upset, right now. Really upset. No, this is not product placement. I'm not being paid for anything. So, where should we begin? I know exactly where we're going to begin. I wrote a 4-page outline. So, what's my issue with how Rian Johnson chose to portray his female characters? Strong female characters are not women who don't cry, are not women who can do no wrong, are not women who are needlessly aggressive. Strong female characters are human women. Women who feel, who mourn, but don't live their lives that way. Women who train, suffer, struggle, and fail in order to succeed. And they are women who learn and know how to control and take responsibility for their actions. That is something I wrote when I first decided that this video was going to happen, because that is what a strong female character is. A strong female character is a human woman, is a woman who can feel, is a woman who can take control of her emotions and her actions, and a woman who struggles and fails to succeed. And that is something that a lot of male writers don't understand. They think that a strong female character is someone who is a woman who can just come out and do everything perfectly the first time. And that's not what we want to see. No woman in the audience wants to see a perfect girl on screen because they are unrelatable to us. They are not human. They are not women. They are goddesses. Here's the thing. For me, I don't go to movies because of diversity. I go to see movies because I want to see a movie, because I think it looks like it's good. Like, I want to go see Black Panther, not because most of the actors are black, but because it looks like it's a good damn movie. I wanted to go well, I actually didn't want to see The Force Awakens, but I wanted to see The Last Jedi because I thought it was going to be a continuation of the characters I was introduced to's story. I thought it was going to be a continuation of their story. That there happened to be a black character, a Latinx character, and a female character, all supposed to be at the forefront. That's beside the point for me. A character is just a character until it's seen in action. And then that person becomes a message to me. If there is a strong female character, not trademarked though, and you know what a trademark strong female character is, if they happen to give a really good message, that's just a bonus. If they're a good character, that's good. That's good representation. But just because there is representation in media doesn't necessarily mean it's good representation. And that's what The Last Jedi is so guilty of. So guilty. And that's why I'm so mad. And I'm going to end up crying because a lot of stuff has happened in the last few days, and I'm just overwhelmed with feelings. So this video is going to be really hard for me to record. This video, so just bear with me. If I start crying, or I get really upset, or I start yelling, just please forgive me. So the first character we're going to talk about is Leia. The character that we have known since the 1970s. And of course, I'm not old enough, I know. I'm only 20, so I know I wasn't around back then. I know. But a lot of other people have. And a lot of people who saw Leia in The Last Jedi are really offended with a certain few things. Most especially, and this is the problem. This is where the whole they're threatened by strong female characters. Strong female characters, they're sexist comes in. Leia's force sensitive. That's okay. I don't know anyone who didn't headcanon her as force sensitive, because her father is like one of the most powerful Jedi turned Sith turned Jedi again in history. Her brother is one of the most powerful Jedi in history. Why would anyone not consider her force sensitive? I don't know. I have never met someone who didn't think she was force sensitive. And in my mind, she was always force sensitive because she was able to at least sense that Luke was her brother. And I headcanon her as, I actually headcanon her in between the Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens as training with her brother to some extent. Now, I don't know. That's my headcanon. But I always considered her force sensitive. So for me, her being force sensitive is no big deal. That it's confirmed, that's great. But why in the name of sanity did Rian Johnson choose the most unrealistic, unsatisfying, and laughable method to show us this thing we all already believed? Why? Here's the thing. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Because she was, for those of you who haven't seen it, I'm sure everyone knows exactly what happened in this movie already. But just spoilers all around this whole video. Her son with two other TIE fighters were going to blow up the Rebel cruiser, and she was in the main hangar, like the bridge area, with the rest of the admirals and generals and stuff like that. But Kylo couldn't do it, so his sidekick TIE fighters, my bad, blew it up for him. So she was sucked out into space with all the rest of the main generals and, the higher ups in the resistance. She was sucked out into space. And at that point, the way they showed her, not moving, not breathing, her eyes closed, I was upset because I thought she was dead. I was just like, oh my God. They did something in post-production where she died because she died in real life. Oh my God, this is where it ends. Oh wow, this is gonna be hard for me to take. I was ready. She looked dead. For all intents and purposes, she was dead. She looked that way. And then suddenly she starts moving her hand, and my first thought was, uh-oh. Because I didn't know what was gonna happen, but I knew it was gonna be bad. She starts moving her hand and she starts moving it more, and I started shaking my head. I started shaking my head like, And then she just flew. Mary Poppins flew back into the now destroyed bridge, and then she is suddenly alive. She's suddenly alive, and she's flying through space using the Force to defy death. Okay, she was dead. She looked like she was dead. I was under the impression she was dead. A lot of other people were too, and it's just like honestly, she should have died. Is the thing. That's what's crazy. She should have died. Now, I understand that her brother and her father and her family can do crazy things with the Force, and that's okay. But no one has ever defied death before. Never. And she just defies death by flying Mary Poppins-esque back into the bridge. And you're just like, what just happened here? Now, if she can defy death, why didn't she just, talk to her son, a la Rey and Kylo, like they did in The Last Jedi? If they can, considering she's so incredibly powerful, most likely more powerful than Snoke, because he's obviously weak as hell in the Force, because he couldn't even sense his own apprentice's thoughts in the room. So she's obviously more powerful than Snoke. So why didn't she just talk to her son a la Rey and Kylo? Seriously, I don't understand. If she can, just defy death and fly through space using the Force, why didn't she just do that? Like, that would have solved everyone's issues, like, really quick. I don't understand. You can't give people these unrealistic powers and then expect them not to question why they didn't do something else. That would have, just solved the problems. Solved them right away. Because just like the hyperspace ramming, like, why did no one think of this before? Why has no one been using this? If this has always been a weapon, why has it not been used before? Why has no one ever spoken of this? Because this is one of the most effective methods of destroying and obliterating the enemy that has ever been used. And apparently nobody's known about it before. Are you kidding me? No one's known about that? Kamikaze runs? Really? I don't know about that one. I don't buy it. So, aside from the fact that she's Force sensitive, but so Force sensitive she's like a Force god, which is fine. I'm okay with her being Force sensitive, but not with just like flying through space and defying death, because that's not on her level. If you wanted it to be on her level, you needed to show more. That's how you write. That's how you show character progression. But Rian doesn't know that about anything at all, and that is going to be another video. Okay, so aside from that, she's completely out of character in this movie. Completely out of character. She slaps Poe. Her head pilot and surrogate son. Now, I understand you would be upset with someone who was under your command and who, just caused the death of a lot of people. But aside from the fact that Poe wouldn't have done that based on his character, she slaps him. What did they build off of the fact that I think Leia smacked Han one time? There's a difference between smacking your boyfriend because he's acting crazy and smacking your subordinate across the face. There's a difference, and I don't think Rian understood that one. I don't think he understood that one. Okay, and then, aside from slapping her surrogate son, she gives up on her actual son. At the end, about, I would say 7.5 out of 7.5 the way through the movie, she gave up on her actual son. And I'm just like, all right, it's done now. Why do we care about Kylo Ren anymore if Han's dead because of Kylo, and Leia doesn't believe in her son anymore, and Luke doesn't believe in his nephew, and Rey kind of gave up on Kylo. Why do I even give a shit about him anymore? Like, really? So she gave up on her actual son. Why would she do that? I don't know. But whatever. She's completely out of character anyway, so this isn't Leia, this is Lua or some shit. She never, and also, because you know how we were talking about strong female characters, we see them mourn. We would like to see them mourn because it shows that they're human. She didn't mourn for her late husband's traumatic death at the hands of her son at all. Like, she fell into the chair in The Force Awakens, and then it was never mentioned again. And you're just like, what the hell? They were married for at least, like, what, 20 years? They were married for, like, upwards of 20 years, and then she doesn't mourn over her son's death, and her husband's death, and you're just like, why? Why? Because she should have mourned. There probably should have been a funeral in that, but I'm gonna say she should have at least mourned over her husband's death. But aside from that, that undercut their relationship, because their relationship was intended to mean that good things can come from war, and they made it mean nothing because she didn't mourn. It felt like she didn't care about her husband, and that really bothers me because it undercuts their relationship and it makes her seem heartless. So not only did you, like, destroy their relationship and what it meant to the audience, but you also destroyed Leia's characterization just in that. And the overall general feel of why Leia was written shittily is that she was so underutilized. Like, yeah, she was there, but she was in a coma for most of the movie. She, like, I mean, I understand you're saving her for a bigger part in 9. Not that that's gonna happen now, but I understand what you're trying to go there for. But when she was on screen, she was out of character. When she was on screen, she kind of made you laugh. When she was on screen, she really wasn't even on screen, and she was just so underutilized in this movie. And it's really upsetting to me because she could have had a really good part in here, you know, helping her son, helping her brother, helping Rey. Could have been really cool, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter anymore. Okay, so moving on to the next girl. The next girl we're going to talk about, we all know, it's Rose. We're going to talk about Rose again. Hopefully not too long, because I don't want to talk about her for that long. Oh, can't stand it. She was useless. She had no personality. She was poorly designed. She was poorly introduced. She was not emotional. Just completely inconsistent the entire time. She handicapped what there existed of a plot. She should have gotten to mourn her sister on camera, should have played a bigger, and that should have played a bigger part in her whole character arc. I understand that there was some mention of, like, oh, me and my sister, we were slaves on this mining colony or whatever, and that's why I feel so strongly about these animals, but not the kids, apparently. Not the kids, not the slave children. Not the slave kids. Nope. The fucking animals. That should have played a bigger part in her whole arc. Not that Canto Bight should have actually happened at all. She just had no personality, and it was really bad. Like, I couldn't even give you one character trait for her personality. She was introduced so poorly into this whole thing. One moment she's crying, and it's implied that it's about her sister, and that's fine, and it should have played a bigger role. It's implied that it's about her sister. Then she's fawning over Finn, and then the next second she is tasering Finn, and she's being overly aggressive. She's so completely inconsistent. The entire introduction, And then on Canto Bight, which shouldn't have even happened in the first place, her sister's death should have played a bigger part, and her backstory should have played a bigger role. And it's just like there's nothing there for that character. And then the whole that's how we'll win, not by fighting the things we hate, but saving the things we love. Why did she stop Finn from killing himself? I still don't know. I'm so drained talking about Rose. I really am. She was so useless the entire movie. So freaking useless. I can't even. But my absolute biggest issue with the character of Rose is this: that she is 100%, 110% expendable in every single way. She's not a strong character. She was written badly. She was acted pretty well. She had no chemistry with any of the other characters. Not to say she was really introduced to many of the other characters except for Poe and Fan. She has no part. She is so expendable. Her parts could have been taken over by either Poe or Rey, and that would have actually helped the plot, even if the plot stayed exactly the same. If her parts were taken over by either Poe or Rey, it would have actually helped something, at least. I mean, it still would have been about failure, and the whole Canto Bight thing still shouldn't have happened, but it would have at least helped to increase the cohesion in the trio, because I don't want to be mean when I say this, but Rose is not a part of the trio. She's really not even good enough to be a Lando at this point. She is useless as hell, and she has no purpose. There's no reason for her to be there. And the whole, oh, well, she gave a voice to the people in the Resistance and their backgrounds, and I'm like, that's fine. But the problem is we all know that the Resistance fighters come from everywhere. We all know that. We all know that they have their own reasons for joining. We all know that they're different people with different lives. We all know these things. And part of the reasons the books exist is so that we can explore their backstories. But they chose to shoehorn her story in there in a poorly constructed environment, in a poorly constructed side plot. And it's just like, that actually makes me dislike her even more, aside from the fact that she has no personality, and therefore she has no chemistry with any of the other characters, because she is not a person in of herself. She is just a thing. She is just there to be there. She is there to add unnecessary conflict and to impede relationship growth between characters that actually should develop a relationship together. And I don't understand why she's there. I will never understand that. And I don't want to say that. And I'll say it time and again. I don't want to say that because I like Kelly Marie Tran. I think she's a good actress. I think she's a great person. But the character she played was so poorly written. It actually pains me. Actually pains me. Do you hear that? I think someone said they want me to talk about Vice Admiral Amelin Haldo. All right. I think I can talk about Vice Admiral Amelin Haldo. Haldo was written so badly. The only bit of her personality that we actually understand is understood through dialogue between other characters. And that is so bad. It is so bad. They want me to like her, but I don't know who she is. The whole, at like literally 7/8 of the way through the movie, like Poe awakes from him being knocked out, and Leia says like she was more interested in preserving the Resistance than seeming like a hero. And I'm just like, okay, that's cool. And what else? Because I still haven't. I'm 7/8 of the way through the movie, and I have no idea who this character is at all. She's a vice admiral, and up until this point, She's literally nothing but a dick. And that's it. Like, I don't understand. Now, okay, so she's noble. From what Leia says to Poe, she's noble. And that's great. That's good. That's a good character trait to have. That she's dedicated to the Resistance. It's good. But I need more from you than just one character trait, one motivation. That had to be really poorly done, by the way, really poorly revealed. Because, like, you know, you could have given us some motivation here. You could have given us some motivation in subtext, and that would have been actually much more effective. You know, she could have done something, said something to someone, but, or, you know, told people what the plan was. We would have known that she was dedicated to the Resistance if, you know, she told people what the plan was. Oh, God, I'm getting slap happy. It's after 2 a.m, and I'm really tired. I've been up for so long. But that's great that she's noble. But you're gonna need to give me more. Give me more. We are 7/8 of the way through the movie. She is dead, and all I know about her is that she had a noble motivation, and that is it. That is it. And the rest of the movie, she's completely one-dimensional. She's a one-dimensional character at best. One-dimensional character at best. And I said it before. The whole movie, she's acting like a freaking dick. There is no other way to describe it. She is needlessly aggressive. She is so unnecessarily secretive. I just don't understand why she's being the way she is. There was no explanation as to why she like acted that way, except she was more interested in preserving the Resistance than seeming like a hero. Like, that's fine. Like, that's great. But you can't expect us to accept that. You can't expect us to accept that when the entire movie she was acting like a dick. Because she wanted us, she expected respect when she hasn't earned it. The entire time, she wanted people to unquestioningly be obedient to her and respect her and give her all the power without having earned any of it. She did nothing at all to instill confidence in her underlings. And here's the thing, she is so condescending, overly passive-aggressive, and even a little fetishizing of Poe when they're just like, when, you know, Leia and Haldo are putting him on the transport, and they're just like, I like him. It's a little weird. It's a little creepy. I gotta tell you, gotta be honest. It's a little creepy. She is so needlessly secretive, and you know I have to talk about it, because there are people who are going to be like, oh, she's talking about that. She is sexist. No, I'm talking about this because there's a logical reason why I think she should have told Poe the plan. Okay, now here's the thing. Poe wasn't even asking to know what the plan was. He was asking to know that there was a plan, but she just decided to be really condescending and insult him instead of telling him 2 words. Yeah. Or what? Yeah, there is 3 words. Or, you know, when he says, is there a plan? And she could just say, yeah. And then it's done. And then he'd be like, all right, I'm fine now. And then walks away and goes back to his cabin. Walks away, goes down to his ship, go cleans his ship, go gets BB-8. You know, it could have been that simple. But instead, she had to be so unnecessarily secretive, so overly passive-aggressive, but also aggressive at the same time. And she was so condescending, and nothing made sense. Her motivation was so unclear the entire time. They want me to accept her and like her, but they don't give me a reason to do that because she is one-dimensional. She had no personality except for being a total dick the entire time. And I want to know why they expect me to like her. Because she had no purpose except to, you know, just, you know, be a little douche to Poe and to not tell anyone anything at all. Like, she could have, you know, like, taken him aside or at one point and be like, so, Poe, I know you're concerned about the future of the Resistance. And he's just like, yeah. And then she says, well, I know your parents were really involved in the Resistance too, so I understand why it means so much to you. But because of what happened before with everything, then I don't really feel comfortable telling you what the plan is. And he'll be like, oh, okay, but there is a plan. But based on what you said, there is a plan. And she says, yes, there is a plan, but I don't feel comfortable telling you what it is. And then he'd be like, all right, I trust you, because she did something to instill confidence and to, bond with her underlings. There's nothing really going on this entire movie that impeded her from, talking to other people. She's literally spending the entire time doing the exact same thing, flying away from the First Order and filling up the transports. That's all that's going on. It's not like she's overly busy. Take him aside and tell him what's going on. You know what? There are only, I think it was canon that there was only 400 or less people in the entire resistance at this point. Because here's the thing. Okay, this is where I was going in the first place, and I lost my train of thought for a second. Why is that here like that? These people in the resistance, these 400 or less people, are terrified. They have almost no fuel. That's a terrible plot point, but that's a whole nother story. They have they're running out of fuel. They have nowhere to go. They can't jump to hyperspace. They are, by the way, that's another thing. That's another video. They can't jump to hyperspace because they can track them through hyperspace. They have no fuel whatsoever. They literally just had their entire higher ranking people pretty much wiped out in one go. The last person that survived is now in a coma. They don't know if she's going to survive. And these people have been working with General Organa for years and years. And these people are terrified. They don't know what's going to happen. And she is so unnecessarily secretive. She is not telling anyone the plan. She's expecting respect with doing nothing to quell their fears. And that's not how you lead. There are so few people left in the resistance on these ships that it would have served the plot. It would have served the plot to have everyone on the same page and go over the intercoms and be like, so guys, I'm going to tell everyone the plan. Or, guys, I have a plan, just trust me. And then it would have been okay. Everyone would be like, all right, we got a plan. The whole excursion on Canobite wouldn't have happened. The First Order wouldn't have found out about trying to take out the hyperspace tracker. Nothing would have happened. Nothing happened anyway, but it would have served the plot to, tell everyone so that everyone else was on the same page. But the way she went about it, not telling everyone, was so unnecessarily secretive. And you made me hate her because she had no personality aside from being a total dick. And why would you want me to respect that? Why would you want me to, be into that? I don't care if people don't give me a reason to respect them. Like I said at the beginning of this video, characters are only characters until they give me a reason to like them. Characters are only characters until they have a purpose of their own. She had no purpose outside of being a plot device to keep the audience, as well as the resistance, in the dark. And making some people feel stupid, even though I wasn't on anyone's side the entire time because it was stupid. And now, the moment we've all been waiting for. I know at least most of you have been waiting for me to talk about Rey, and that's the reason I waited for till the end. There's just so much to talk about here. Okay, so in The Force Awakens, everything just came so easy to Rey. It just was so easy to her. She was able to, do whatever she wanted pretty much with no training. But because she was the entire time throughout the movie, they continually showed me reasons why she was Luke Skywalker's daughter. The way she carried herself, the way she spoke, the way she walked, the way she interacted with the lightsaber, her emotionality, cinematic tells, foreshadowing, literally everything in The Force Awakens pointed to her being Luke Skywalker's daughter. So the fact that she could do everything, or she could do a lot of things, everything came so easy to her, was okay with me. I could excuse that because she was Luke's daughter. And I said, well, everyone was calling her a certain word, a certain name, and we know what that name is, and I'm going to say it in a minute. Everyone was calling her something, and I was saying, well, when she's revealed to be Luke's daughter, it's going to make sense to everyone, just because there was a lot of people who figured it out anyway, but when she's revealed to be Luke's daughter, it'll make sense to everyone else. And I actually told my brothers, no, she's Luke's daughter. That's why everything comes easy to her, because Anakin was able to do a lot of things without having any training. Luke was able to do a lot of things without doing any training, so it made sense that she was able to do a lot of things without very much training at all, like none. So it was the natural Skywalker thing to be good at things without really needing to, you know, put in too much effort. Now, trial and error is fine. That's what she did with the whole mind control thing in The Force Awakens. And that was good because that was something that is a higher technique that would really require more training. So I think that was a little too much, but it worked for what it was and it was fine. So now that she's not Luke's daughter, even though she still could be, but I have very little faith in JJ anymore because he was one of those people that's calling people like that they say they don't like women or something. So now that she is not Luke's daughter, there's no justification for why she could have done all those things with no effort, no training, no nothing. There's no reason. So you want to know what she is? She's a fucking Mary Sue now. And I hate that. I hate saying that phrase because I kept telling my brothers, she's not a Mary Sue because she's Luke's daughter. She's not a Mary Sue because it makes sense. She's not a Mary Sue. I defended her honor online to people like saying she's not a Mary Sue because it makes sense why she can do all these things. Because in her youth, she probably saw her father doing it. And that she can't remember who her parents are doesn't change the fact she actually saw it. So she probably was exposed to it in her youth. So for me, it made sense because she probably was just testing out things. And also the others, you know, the stories of Luke Skywalker she heard, it made sense. But now she's a Mary Sue because she never even saw it happen. She only heard stories of Luke Skywalker. She's never been near a Jedi in her life. But for some reason, she knows everything. She can do everything, and she knows everything. Even things she shouldn't know by Disney canon itself. Like Anakin's turn. There are only 3 people in their universe that know about Anakin's turn, you know, from the dark side to the light side. And that's Han, Leia, and Luke. Han never told her. Leia never got the chance to tell her, and Luke didn't tell her. So where the hell did she learn it? There are only 3 people in this universe who know about it. Only 3. So tell me who told her if she's not a Skywalker. Tell me who told her. So, yeah. So she can just do everything and know everything. She's a goddess. She's a goddess. She can do everything and know everything. And that is so upsetting that I have to call her a Mary Sue now. Because she is. That's what she is now, because she can do everything with no effort, no training, no nothing. She knows everything with no reason for having known these things. She can just do it all. She's perfect. She's a perfect girl. All right? That's all she is. So, sorry, I started yelling, so my throat's a little dry. So, aside from the fact she can do everything and she knows everything, she was also stripped of her entire personality. All of it. I don't understand. Okay, so we were introduced to a Rey in The Force Awakens that was strong, independent, emotional, loyal, and loving. Those are the character traits we were given for her. They're not really one-dimensional, but she was very emotional. But because of The Last Jedi, what happened to her, guys? She was stripped of her whole personality because she just became a sounding board for Kylo Ren and Luke, Jake Skywalker. Their anger and their emotions just bounced off of her and she just reacted to them. She had almost no organic emotions of her own in this whole movie. There were only 3 times 3 times. Count them. You can do it on less than one hand. There are only 3 times in this whole movie that she showed any organic emotions whatsoever. And that was when she was yelling at Kylo, "Why did you hate your father? He gave a damn about you." And then she was talking to Kylo again. "Ben, don't go this way." You know, when he was turning back to the darkness. And then when she was flying the Millennium Falcon and firing at the First Order, and she said, "Ooh, I like this." Those are the only 3 times she showed any, like, organic emotion. The rest of it was pushed or forced or manipulated by Kylo or Luke. And that's insane. That's insane that she literally has no personality. So what happened to her? She was stripped of her ability to be strong, her ability to be independent, her ability to be loyal, even the ability to be loving. She literally only had emotional left in her 5 character traits we were introduced to. And it's just like, the emotions, for by and large, weren't even hers for the most part. And you're just like, okay, so she's nobody now. She's just a soundboard for her male co-stars. And it's just like, wow, that's pretty fucking bad that you promised us a female main protagonist and you just gave us a mirror for your main antagonist. You gave us nothing. Thank you for all your diversity. Thank you. I appreciate it. And then, aside from the fact that she was supposed, that one of her trademark character traits is that she's emotional. Aside from that, get ready. With Luke, you know, at the beginning, she kept saying stuff like, I'm with the Resistance and I was sent by your sister Leia. I was sent by your sister Leia to bring you home or something like that or some shit like that. And then Luke kept saying, "Who are you?" And he's like, "I'm with the Resistance." And then she was so needlessly emotionless and you can tell I'm like drained. She was so needlessly emotionless with Luke, and Rian forced her to be mysterious, and it's just like you could tell that it was forced because she wasn't even trying to communicate with Luke. She was just like, "I'm with the Resistance," or "I'm nobody." It was just like, where did that come from as a part of her personality? Number one, where did that come? Where'd the mysteriousness like that come from? Nowhere. It's like it needed to happen because it had to be interesting, but it wasn't. It was just weird to watch. Like, I'll be honest with you, just weird the entire time where he's trying to ask her, "Who are you?" And she's just like, "I'm nobody," or "I was sent by your sister Leia, I'm with the Resistance." No, "Who are you?" I'm nobody. Like, she was so emotionless and needlessly mysterious, and it was so weird. It was just weird to watch because that was so out of character. I didn't even know what to do with it. I was just like, okay, I'm not watching this movie right now, am I? And then I realized, wow, I am. That's weird. That's even weirder than this whole situation. Now, one of my biggest and most, one of the things that really sticks in my craw, is this whole thing. Kylo Ren changed her whole character. And I'm not saying for the better. It just changed her whole character. It's just like everything from The Force Awakens never fucking happened. And she's a completely blank slate because nothing that happened in The Force Awakens apparently matters to her at all. And what I'm saying is this. He changed her character with no provocation, and she had no reasoning to change because of him. They have no relationship. They don't love each other. They actually hate each other. And Han was murdered in front of her. Kylo knew he meant something to her. Why would Rey even give him the time of day? Never mind trust him after he murdered his father in front of her. Now, I know you're probably confused by the way I presented that information to you, because it's a little bit iffy, even I'll admit that. Now, for some reason, you're going to understand. She's not dumb. She raised herself on a planet inhabited by less than desirable people. She's not dumb. She's not naive. She doesn't trust people out of nowhere, especially someone who literally just murdered their father in front of her, especially because he knew that his father meant something to her. She has no reason to trust Kylo Ren, but for some reason, she did. And I want to know why. Because she needlessly trusted Kylo Ren and literally took his word at face value. When they were having some kind of one of those force bondy whatevers, she and Kylo was just like, he attacked me. He tried to kill me in my sleep. Whether or not that's the truth. Would she not have actually gone to, talk to Luke and be like, hey, did this actually happen? But instead of that, she decided, you know what? I'm gonna go attack him with my staff. So she decides to go physically assault Luke Skywalker, her master, physically assault him based on Kylo Ren's word alone. Why did she trust him? Why? He mind raped her, assaulted her and her friends, murdered his father, and lies to her, yet she trusts Kylo's word enough to attack Luke Skywalker. Why? She's not dumb. She raised herself on a planet where most people are out for themselves. She wouldn't trust anyone there. Why would she trust the most evil dude in the galaxy when he literally did all of that shit to her in the last 3 days? Why? This happened in the course of 3 days. But for some reason, she just mindlessly trusts Kylo enough to assault Luke Skywalker. Kylo Ren's character completely altered Rey's character for no good reason. She literally attacked Luke Skywalker the day after she said, Kylo failed you, but I won't. She attacks him and then leaves the planet. What? Loyalty where? Independence who? Those are two of her very important character traits because she's dependent upon Kylo Ren for this information, relies solely on his word, does not question it, is completely 100% dependent on Kylo Ren here, and then she is completely disloyal to Luke because she physically assaults him with no proof of what happened. It literally takes him, and it literally takes her until he's on the ground, and she could strike him down if she wanted to get the truth from Luke. She assaulted him with no good reason, with no justification. And that's completely altering her character. And here's another thing. Why did she even want to turn Ren like Luke turned Vader? She has no organic motivation. It's just that the plot necessitated it. She wanted to turn Ren like Luke turned Vader because Rian wanted to copy off of Return of the Jedi and The Empire Strikes Back. That's all that happened because she has no reason to trust him, no reason to care about him because they are not related. They don't love each other. They barely know one another. But for some reason, she mindlessly trusts him, is completely naive, and completely disregards everything he did to her in the last 3 days. And she says, I'm gonna go turn Ren like you turned Vader. And then Luke's just like, this isn't gonna go the way you think. And we're all just like, it's not, dude. Don't do it. Because she's a fucking idiot. She's an idiot. They portrayed her as a freaking idiot in this movie. And that's what she is. That's what she came out to be. A freaking idiot. Because there was a freaking idiot who's a goddess and knows everything, but can do everything right, aside from being a freaking idiot and having no motivation, no organic motivation, and no emotion, no organic emotion. And it's like, I don't understand how much more worse you could have written a character aside from Rose and maybe even Holdo. But this is so bad because this is the main protagonist. This is our main girl, and she has no purpose in this movie outside of being a sounding board and a plot device. That's it. That's all she is in this movie. Now, she didn't even grieve for Han, Luke, or even Kylo. Han dies, and it's done. She doesn't grieve, except for the fact that she yells at Kylo, like, why did you hate your father? Why did you kill him? And it's just like, after that, done. And she says, like, oh, I didn't hate him. And then it's like, okay. We never get an answer why he actually killed Han. Like, all right. So Kylo returns to the dark side, and she's basically just like, oh, well. And then she goes to go shoot some stuff in the First Order and the Millennium Falcon. And you're like, all right, fine. And then Luke dies, and she's like, he's gone with peace and purpose. She has no emotion regarding these really intense, emotionally impactful things that are happening. She has nothing. She has no emotion regarding them. None of the emotion she should have felt. None of the emotion she did feel. She should have felt. And none of the emotion she should have felt, she actually did feel. And I'm like, I don't understand how Rian Johnson wanted us to view her after this, because I view her as an idiot. And someone who literally I don't even care about anymore, to be honest. And just one thing about the Kylo thing. When Kylo returns to the dark side, if she really did, like, love him or care about him at all, wouldn't she have been crushed? She wasn't. She just kind of moves on and just like, I'm going to go destroy some stuff in the First Order. Whoa, let's go, guys. Going to go save my friends. And then after that, and during the entirety of the movie, I don't know if anyone else noticed this. I actually just noticed this while I was writing it. And she all but forgets Finn for most of the movie, except for that one mention, like, if you see Finn before I do, tell him this. And she's speaking to Chewie. She all but forgets Finn for most of the movie. And that's like, loyalty where? Loving who? Never heard of them. Like, really? I don't even know who Rey is anymore. Rose was poorly designed from the beginning. Holdo was poorly designed from the beginning. Leia is completely out of character. I don't know who she is, but I really don't know who Rey is anymore. She's nothing now. She's just nothing. It doesn't matter. Like, she's literally just a plot device, and I don't care about her anymore. And that really upsets me because she was my favorite character. I went to the theater dressed up as her. I have her armband right on the table because, you know, I was so psyched. I have her armband on the table. I even have her little arm gauntlet thingy majigs. I have that stuff. I had it all on the table. I was dressed like her. I had my hair like her. I was so psyched to see her. And now I don't even give a damn. So, the long, short, wow, this is a long video. The ending message I just want to leave you all with is the plot needed the characters to change in this movie. And that inherently makes the characters in the movie weak. But it made the women in this movie even weaker because some of the characters weren't even designed the right way in the first place. So these characters, the ones that weren't designed properly, were so weak that they have maybe one character trait at best, if that, and they have no use outside of the plot. And that is a very, very weak character. Very weak. The ones who were not weak were not women, were not human. They were goddesses. Or one-dimensional at best. One-dimensional sketches. That's it. That's what the women in this movie boil down to. They are either goddesses or one-dimensional sketches of women. And that is it. That's it. That's all they were. We want to see our girls, our women in these movies work and fail. We want to see them work to succeed because it's important that we see them succeed. We want our women to grieve, be broken, and then put themselves together again. we want our women to have a reason. We want our women to be respected by their counterparts. We want... Haldo mocks us for not handing her respect without earning it. And I don't understand why we should not respect someone until they earn it. Sorry, I just noticed something. They have to have their own reason, their own personality, their own motivation. We want our women in these movies to be as diverse, as different, and as interesting as the women that exist in real life. And it's not that hard to write a human being. So why does The Last Jedi fail so hard? Because they didn't write any women. There were no strong female characters. So, I don't think I have much more to say. But just one last thing. Don't you ever, any of you TLJ apologists, Lucasfilms, Disney, Rian Johnson, JJ Abrams, anyone, don't y'all ever say again that the reason we don't like The Last Jedi is because we're afraid and threatened by strong female characters, because you didn't even write any.